the journey through life and death. My students often ask me, how do we know what these bardos are, and from where does the astonishing precision of the Bardo teachings and their uncannily clear knowledge of each stage of dying, death, and rebirth come from? The answer may seem initially difficult to understand for many readers, because the notion of the mind the West now has is an extremely narrow one. Despite the major breakthroughs of recent years, especially in mind-body science and transpersonal psychology, the great majority of scientists continue to reduce the mind to no more than the physical processes in the brain, which goes against the testimony of thousands of years of experience of mystics and meditators of all religions. From what source or authority, then, can a book like this be written? The inner science of Buddhism is based, as one American scholar puts it, on a thorough and comprehensive knowledge of reality, on an already assessed, deep understanding of self and environment. That is to say, on the complete enlightenment of the Buddha. The source of the Bardo teachings is the enlightened mind, the completely awake Buddha mind, as experienced, explained, and transmitted by a long line of masters that stretches back to the primordial Buddha. Their careful, meticulous, you could almost say scientific, explorations and formulations of their discoveries of mind over the centuries have given us the most complete possible picture of both life and death. It is this complete picture that, inspired by Jamyang Khyentse and all my other great masters, I am humbly attempting to transmit for the very first time to the West. Over many years of contemplation and teaching and practice, and clarifying questions with my masters, I have written the Tibetan Book of Living and Dying as a quintessence of all the hard advice of all my masters, to be a new Tibetan Book of the Dead and a Tibetan Book of Life. I want it to be a manual, a guide, a work of reference, and a source of sacred inspiration. Only by going over this book and reading it again and again, I suggest, can its many layers of meaning be revealed. The more you use it, you will find, the more profoundly you will feel its implications, and the more you will come to realize the depth of the wisdom that is being transmitted to you through the teachings. The Bardo teachings show us precisely what will happen if we prepare for death and what will happen if we do not. The choice could not be clearer. If we refuse to accept death now, while we are still alive, we will pay dearly throughout our lives, at the moment of death and thereafter. The effects of this refusal will ravage this life and all the lives to come. We will not be able to live our lives fully. We will remain imprisoned in the very aspect of ourselves that has to die. This ignorance will rob us of the basis of the journey to enlightenment and trap us endlessly in the realm of illusion, the uncontrolled cycle of birth and death, that ocean of suffering that we Buddhists call samsara. Yet the fundamental message of the Buddhist teachings is that if we are prepared, there is tremendous hope, both in life and in death. The teachings reveal to us the possibility of an astounding and finally boundless freedom, which is ours to work for now in life. The freedom that will also enable us to choose our death and so, too, choose our birth. For someone who has prepared and practiced, death comes not as defeat, but as a triumph, the crowning and most glorious moment of life.